deemed the allegations as quote-unquote vague, but pledged to investigate, asking Apple to join the investigation with real, accurate information on the alleged state-sponsored attacks, also daring the opposition MPs to file a criminal case. In the wake of the brewing controversy, Apple Inc. in a statement also said that it is possible that some threat notifications may be false alarms and some attacks may not be detected. Now, attacking the opposition's accusations regarding the iPhone hacking notification is BJP's IT cell chief Amit Malviya, drawing a link between the global advocacy funder Goorge Soros' NGO Access Now and Apple notifications. Malviya made these claims quote-tweeting a thread on social media platform X that highlighted how the Goorge Soros-funded AccessNow.org has been mentioned as quote-unquote digital security helpline by the Apple notification that was received by some politicians in India to quote-unquote accuse the Modi government of phone hacking. Although remember, Apple has been sending out these notifications since the late 2021 whenever it suspects that some activity resembles a state-sponsored attack. It has so far notified individuals in 150 countries. These developments lead us up to that one curious question. From confirming that they will get to the bottom of this, to now making insinuations about compromising national security via Soros' Access Now, and in turn pointing to Apple's alleged involvement in it, hasn't the government gone from being in control of the Snoopgate Saga to now being somehow oddly placed as they indulge in a half-baked attempt at attacking the opposition and in the process end up raising fingers at a tech giant with plans to put in a $40 billion investment in India? Now, essentially, before we get to the bottom of this, let's first break down what are these Apple state-sponsored attackers alert all about. Now, these alerts are part of Apple threat notifications. The company claims they are designed to inform and assist users who may have been targeted by state-sponsored attackers. Remember, so far, however, Apple has not confirmed if the new batch of alerts are genuine at all or not. Although the company does have a pre-existing support page explaining this feature. Apple claims that state-sponsored attackers are not your average cyber criminals. They are exceptionally resourced and target a very small number of specific individuals and their devices. Apple's existing support page also claims that these attacks are highly complex in nature. They cost millions of dollars to develop and often have a short shelf life. Now, the American tech giant also explains what can be done if Apple users get this notification on their respective devices. If Apple discovers activity consistent with a state-sponsored attack, the targeted users are notified in two different ways. Number one, a threat notification is displayed at the top of the page after the user signs in to the appleid.apple.com. Apple then sends an email and also an iMessage notification to the email addresses and phone numbers associated with the user's Apple ID. Now, these notifications provide additional steps that notified the users can take help and protect their devices, and this includes enabling what they have called the lockdown mode. Apple has also claimed that threat notifications will never ask the users to click on any links, open files, or also install apps or profiles, or provide your Apple ID password or verification code by email or on the phone. Now, in the wake of that, let's now take a look at what exactly are the allegations that the BJP is making. BJP's claim number one is that there has been a communication that's been sent by an NGO which is linked to Goorge Soros. Why do they say that? It's after that entire alert, that threat alert, was put out by various opposition leaders on the platform X, and through that, BJP is claiming that Apple's follow-up text was sent by Soros' organization. Number three, they go on to claim that this follow-up mail suggests that Soros' link accessnow.org is the entire organization which is behind this entire saga, and hence there are these insinuations being drawn that this might also be an attempt to breach national security. Number four, they go on to claim that the Soros-funded NGO is working with the tech giants in that process also claiming that there is an Apple's involvement in this entire fiasco. Number 5, they go on to claim that there has been a clear connection between the alert and the Soros' funded NGO that is Access Now. The number 6 claim that they make is that Soros funded the organization's digital security helpline, which has been cited as part of the alert. Claim number 7, they go on to say that the opposition is giving a platform to Soros trying to undermine India. They have so far not been able to exactly tell us the how part of it, but this is the claim that's been made by the Bharatiya Janata Party. So the big question remains, is Soros really behind the Snoopgate saga? Or did the BJP's exuberance to prove a defiant opposition wrong jump the gun on this one?
राहुल गांधी रहे थे, लेकिन ये जो स्क्रिप्ट थी ये जॉर्ज सोरेस की थी।
Why is this Apple alert come only to opposition leaders and to some journalists and not to anybody from the ruling party? We're asking for the government to clarify.
Hello, Moto.
Opening this up to my guests this evening who are joining me on Plain Speak, Ajay Singh, who is an independent researcher who goes behind the X handle. In fact, he's the person, the storyteller. He was in fact quote-tweeted by Amit Malviya. So we have Ajay Singh. He will explain to us on what was his research all about. Also joining us is Mahima Singh, who's the spokesperson of the Congress Party. Kanish Kaur, who's a cyber expert, who's also with us. And with us is Advocate Sumit Chandar. We are also awaiting a guest from the Bharatiya Janata Party to join us. We will let you know as to who is going to be a part of this conversation. But Mr. Singh, let me begin with you. I'd want you to explain to our viewers what went behind this research of yours, and in turn then how are you making this connection of a George Soros funded NGO involvement into Apple's affairs?
So, see, in a nutshell, we have 34 generations of iPhone right now in use since 2007, right? Now, some of our political elites made claims that we have been using iPhone since last 20 years. Some of them said that we received notifications and our phones have been hacked. I have 3 questions to everybody. That when you read this, and Mr. Shashi Tharoor posted on his Twitter handle all the screenshots, one of the screenshots clearly says that enlist expert help such as rapid response emergency security assistance provided by the digital security helpline at non-profit Access Now. Now, I have one open simple question. Unlike Android, this iOS operating system of Apple is closely guarded sandbox. It's more like a black box technologically. So how on earth an technological giant like Apple is falling on the NGO Access Now, which was founded in 2009 just to spy on Iran on the behest of the US state and certain non-state actors to find out that what is going on behind the Iron Curtain of Iran during the presidential elections. And all those who found it, they were nothing but they were all the fellowship holders of the George Soros or Open Source Foundation. And secondly, if your phone is hacked, didn't you check with the Apple itself that why this access now is featuring? Who is access now? What role of access now has? Three, if you say that government is after your data, your phone, your conversation, government is snooping. I want to ask one more question that why didn't you check with the Apple? Apple clearly denied that we are using this term non-state sponsored actors as a generic term. We have sent it to 150 countries and Apple has close to 2 billion iPhone users, right? So none of these questions were addressed. Everybody wanted a clear political kleptocratic noise, and they went after that and started posting that I received this communication, I received this communication. But my simple question was that as an iPhone user, you should have used your sense. You should have asked a couple of relevant questions to Apple that is it sent by you, and if somebody have checked with the Apple would have, I'm pretty sure they should have simply told them that no, this is not, we are talking about India specific or Modi government specific or a BG government specific. We are talking about 150 countries. Now coming to the Goorge Soros connection, the Access Now as a think tank, as a non-profit, is coming under the IRS 501 guideline of the US government, where they are clearly mandated the freedom that they can describe that what are their donors and they cannot describe that those donors. So most of those left-leaning neocon think tanks, they work under the shadows. Nobody knows who's paying them and who's not paying them. What are the source of incomes? What are the contributions? Who are the donors? Whatever they
Okay, we'll get to that point later, Mr. Ajay Singh. But let me actually bring in Kanishk Kaur on this. This is an important thing that you have, in fact, flagged for our viewers. Kanishk, I went through the Apple support website. There's no mention of Access Now somehow. Yet, the alert that was in fact sent out to these 10 political leaders, MPs, they have in fact in that alert have had a continuation message from Apple which mentions about Access Now. How does one explain this?
So thank you for bringing me here. The key point is that Apple gets a lot of threat intelligence and signals from different organizations, and Access Now is an independent organization which conducts its own research and also shares this threat intelligence with Apple.
Okay.
Now, Apple could use third-party threat intelligence to find out if there are any state actors which are trying to hack or hijack systems of key people and then inform them. Now, this is a responsible disclosure from Apple.
Yes.
Which could be from any third party. It could be from Access Now, it could be from Citizen Lab, or it could be from a computer emergency response team of an organization as well. So they are going to validate, and if they find any value, they are going to inform the users. So Apple has done that responsibly.
Okay.
Bringing in a political element could get this really wrong today, because there are people who are not part of the opposition and who are notable figures in this country, which includes people like Samir Saran, who leads Observer Research Foundation, is as a president. He has also received this alert. There are people who are pro this government as well, who have received the alert as well. So calling it on a political measure would be wrong. I strongly recommend let there be a proper investigation. Let Apple share more evidence on why they thought specific people have been targeted. And it does not necessarily mean that the government has done it. State-sponsored hacktivism means that there could be hacktivists who could be paid by a state,
yes,
or could have been provided any kind of infrastructure, right? So it's a term which is most of the time misunderstood, saying a government is doing it. It could be a third party, it could be a large hacking group like Anonymous or another hacking community like Shiny Hunters.
Okay.
But
So, Kanish,
since
you are
the
essentially
attack
saying that
continues,
Apple can go ahead and give it up to the third parties, in this case Access Now, and they have been well within their rights and also very responsible in acknowledging it that they have given it to Access Now, which is what is being claimed by Mr. Ajay Singh, and now that it's become part of a big furor, considering this is an NGO which is linked with Mr. Goorge Soros. I'd like to understand this one thing. A, why is it not part of the Apple support website? Is it not supposed to be on it? And in that case, does it require the downloading of any particular app? Because Apple clearly mentions that they do not ask users to download any app or in fact click any links. So how does it work?
So Apple as a company will not attribute to any third party
Okay.
when they are giving threat intelligence. As part of their responsible disclosure practice, they will only alert the user saying they have received some part of threat intelligence from an organization, and they will not even attribute whether this has come from any specific actor or a government. That's typically their responsible disclosure practice that they have been following so far. So it could be Access now, or it could be third party. Now, if Access wants to come forward and say they have done it, or there is a third party coming and saying Access now is involved, I don't think so. Apple would really put their name as part of their website, right? That really would ever happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that and explaining it, Kanishk. Let me actually bring in Mahima Singh. Before that, let me also announce that Charu Pragya of the Bharatiya Janata Party is with us on the broadcast. But Charu, before you settle down, let me actually take in a question from Mahima Singh. Mahima, you have heard the two aspects. One, by the whistleblower, Mr. Ajay Singh, who has in fact spoken about the involvement of Access now. Kanishk has explained why that involvement, because it's a process, it's part of Apple to go ahead and give it up to third parties, and it has been making these alerts, declarations in 150 countries since the later part of 2021. In that light, how do you read these insinuations or these claims that are being made now by the Bharatiya Janata Party?
Jai Hind. Gruha, I would begin by citing one very specific line from the Apple's statement issued yesterday. They said state-sponsored attackers are very well funded and sophisticated, and their attacks evolve over time, which means that detecting such attacks relies on threat intelligence signals. So, you see, there are many questions today that lie unanswered, and one very pertinent question that has lied unanswered for rather a long time. And that is, why did the government not cooperate in the Supreme Court inquiry when Pegasus happened? And that line has been mentioned in the Supreme Court judgment. Just now, when I was hearing the other panelists, somebody said that why just specifically say that the opposition is being targeted when there are people even from the government or not from the government, but people who are pro-government, as I heard, whose phones may also have been infested. Now, I would also like to remind our viewers that when Pegasus happened, the names on the lists included more than a couple of ministers, including Mr. Ashwani Vaishnav's. There was CJI's name, the sitting CJI's name. There were many pertinent names, and I think all of that raised an alarm in all our minds. Why did Jack Dorsey, the former Twitter head, had to claim that the government was pressurizing Twitter to censor the reports around farmer protests, and if they failed to do so, they threatened their operations and the staff safety in India. What did the government do, Gruha, we need to ask today, about the Aadhaar data of 81.5 crore Indians being offered on the dark web for around $80,000, and the breach has been reported to have come from Indian Council of Medical Research. Apart from that, we rank second globally, Gruha, in tech exposure breaches in India. And this also, is very well known to the government. What is the government doing? It is yours and my privacy at stake, let alone the opposition, which of course today is a big concern.
Mahima, I'm taking all your points, but when you mention Pegasus is the one claim that the BJP is also making to actually raise fingers against you, because while that entire investigation reached the Supreme Court, it was one of your senior leaders, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who even refused to submit his phone for that inquiry. So that is a charge that the BJP is also leveling against you. I'll come to that point, but let me actually bring in. Let me bring in.
Just a moment, Briha. You must not pass. You've made a very You've made
quickly
a
make your
remark.
point. Make your point. Yeah.
So you see, just because Mr. Rahul Gandhi refused to give his phone meant that the government will refuse to comply with the investigation, will refuse to cooperate with the investigation.
Which is the question that I would put to Ms. Charu Pragya. Charu, the fact that Bharatiya Janata Party, while talking about this Snoopgate allegation, which is to do with Apple, and the association that BJP is now claiming goes back to George Soros, they're also mentioning Pegasus, but they've clearly done away with this aspect that their entire investigation vis-a-vis Pegasus has been a skewed one. So when we talk about this fresh Snoopgate allegation against the government, why did the BJP get so quick on getting in this George Soros angle after Mr. Ajay Singh flagged this? This was a quote tweet by Amit Malviya. After having announced a proper and thorough investigation in this case, why bank on this aspect only now?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
And just as elections are around the corner and the opposition needed to do some attention grabbing, they have come up with this new gimmick of saying that spying is happening on them. And how many times has a complaint like this been lodged by the opposition and it has come to no conclusive proof? And because you mentioned Pegasus, we'll come to that. But let's go back and remember a time when Rahul Gandhi cried out about a laser light on his face, claiming it was a gun. It was a gun marking him. And it just created havoc for no reason at all. I don't believe that a responsible opposition is supposed to behave like this. And Apple has also clarified. Of course, we don't know too much about the case yet. The parliamentary committee will get to the bottom of it. But such kind of warnings have come to people in 150 countries.
Yes.
150 countries. So
which is what my question is. When you also say this and then you say this, there is a George Soros angle. One thing that I fail to understand is that BJP really goes on guns blazing, claiming this one person who is a hedge funder, who is a philanthropist, just because he had some, critiques for the Prime Minister in Munich. After that, there has been an open attack from the BJP against George Soros, but he has been politically very, very vocal and he has his views. So what is the problem?
Yes, and he has his views which are contrary to what this nation needs and what is good for India as a nation. So George Soros is a situation which is entirely different from this, but the fact is that he is at the bottom of every single thing that the opposition keeps crying about. Is it because they're all taking money and funding from him, and that is why all these coincidences are too many? Because here the editor of The Wire, the one who front-ended the story about Pegasus, is the same person who's front-ending it for the Apple attack. And Apple has again clarified that it is not state-sponsored. So, and both the things are disconnected, Griha. First of all, if this happens in 150 countries, BJP government or Modi Sarkar is not responsible. It is an Apple problem. At the same time, you cannot do away with the fact that the funding for the platform, Access Now, comes from the George Soros Foundation, and the crux of that foundation very often has been found to be anti-India.
Okay,
and,
so let's talk about that aspect only, Charu. Well, you say that the funding that comes from, as far as Apple is concerned, comes from a George Soros funded organization, in this case Access Now. Aren't you leveling open accusations at a tech giant, an American tech company, in this case Apple? There has to be a solid ground than just this one to level those accusations. So you are saying Apple was in cahoots with George Soros and the organization to probably point fingers at the Modi-led administration. Is that what you're insinuating?
So let me quote verbatim what Apple has said about the controversy. Apple has said that the attackers are well funded and their techniques are sophisticated and evolving. So Apple clarifies that this is a third party problem. It is a third party attack, and of course the attackers and hackers are every single time very well funded and they are evolving. So you are now attributing a third party problem which even Apple is concerned about to the government of India, and that is logical. And how is it logical coming from a person who had to run to take a press conference today but could not submit his phone to prove a spyware in his phone device? How is it logical when the same person gets paranoid even about a laser light? Now, if you're accusing the government of something, the Supreme Court actually put together a committee to investigate about Pegasus. And what did Mr. Gandhi do? Mr. Gandhi did not even want to put forward his phone to clarify his claim. So you cannot just shoot,
No, but you still not answered my question, Charu. I'll come back to you. Let me bring in Mr. Sumit Chandar. He's been patiently waiting. Mr. Sumit, the fact that the government said that there is going to be a thorough investigation regarding these Snoopgate allegations, they also mentioned how Apple needs to come in and be a part of that investigation. That was sort of the logical step. Then comes in this George Soros angle, a claim that has been flagged by Mr. Ajay, who's part of the panel today. Is this the logical conclusion to where and how an investigation needs to be headed when it is an open allegation against the government at the center of snooping?
Ria, where the investigation is to be headed, to understand that you need to understand the laws which support this issue.
Yes.
There is first and foremost is Article 17 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1976. India was a signatory to this covenant. And this covenant is enforceable against the state. In fact, it's only enforceable against the state and not against private entities. This Article 17 says that no one shall be subjected to arbitrary or unlawful interference with his privacy.
Yes.
That is also why Article 19 of our Constitution gives us the right to freedom of speech, and it has been held in several judgments that telephone tapping would be an infringement to our Article 19 right to freedom of speech and expression. Another very important law, it has been held in various judgments that privacy is an intrinsic element of the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 also of the Constitution. Now, with these laws in place, their investigation has to be done, and in the case Putta Swamy case, where 9 judges of the Supreme Court, a constitution bench, recommended to the union government that there needs to be examined and put in place a robust regime for data protection and privacy. Now, with these things in place, already laws have come up. Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, which is very latest, in fact, it got the assent of the president only on 11th August 2023, has come into place. So this entire investigation which will now take place will be within the ambit of these laws to ensure and investigate where the privacy has been infringed, if at all it has been.
Okay. In that light, what you've just told to us, how do you see the Pegasus ruling by the Supreme Court, a claim that's been made by both the political parties who are part of the panel today, and how there were several loopholes or probably several things that were wanting in that investigation, and in turn what happened in the court?
See, the committee is in place. Obviously, the investigation things will have to be brought to perspective. And if any kind of a privacy infringement has taken place, government possibly would have to show it in light of the Indian Telegraph Act Section 5, which says that only in case of public emergency or in interest of public safety, in the interest of, in fact, the sovereignty and integrity of India, that such, if at all, any infringement of privacy has taken place, it has been taken place within the ambit of the exception provided under Section 5 of the Indian Telegraph.
Okay.
So these are again matters of investigation which will be done and put up before the committee for further decision on this.
Okay. Charu, I will go back to the point that I was earlier asking you, but while you answer that, I also want to understand. There was a claim that was made by Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar ever since these allegations were put on record yesterday. And he said that Union Minister Piyush Goyal also received a similar threat. Now, how do you back those claims? Do we see this as BJP jumping the gun? They are wanting to prove the opposition wrong, that they have forgotten the statements that they have made in the past now that they are claiming of a George Soros angle. And if that George Soros angle is there and there is an anti-India rhetoric in an element here, then how does Piyush Goyal feature in all this?
Griha, see, the fact of the matter is that if this is an external hacking attempt and if there is an attacker which has access to the Apple system, then maybe the ones who complained first were leaders of the opposition. And what you are saying about Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji, I am not aware of that. But it happened in 150 countries. Let's stay on that. So it's obvious that people who've received notifications, the net is far wider and larger than only a few members of the Indian opposition. It's a serious problem and Apple is answerable. Apple needs to come on board and figure out what is happening, cooperate and help us figure out, because over here the problem with the Indian opposition at least is, and I can speak for them if nobody else, is that for everything that happens to them, they cry out Modi, they say the fault is the Indian government, and they do not care to find out what's at the crux of any matter apart from this. Everything that happens, even if it is a tummy ache that they will get today, it is Modi's
fault. So you are saying that there is going to be a thorough investigation and Apple is going to be called in for that investigation. Have I heard that right, Charu?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And the country is getting that together.
Okay. Mahima, I would give you the last word. I'd like to understand that this is a claim that BJP is also making, something that Apple had also put out as part of the statement, that these sort of alerts have been sent by the company to various users in not just one country, India, but 150 countries since 2021. In the light of that information, how do you actually see the current claims that have been made by BJP?
I'll tell you how, Griha. Because when we talk of the international indices, various times when we point out to a hunger index or a press freedom index, you know, a BJP will come out crying foul and saying, see, they only rely on the international data. But when a breach like this happens on our countrymen, and that to opposition, look at the audacity of the BJP spokesperson who just said that, see, the opposition leaders, even if they'll have a tummy ache, they'll cry foul and they'll say, how many opposition leaders have been targeted not only in this Snoopgate, apart from that also, you need to remember 95% of people targeted by ED and CBI today are opposition leaders. I am asking a simple question, why did the government not cooperate with the Supreme Court of India? Why did the government refuse to comply with the investigation conducted by the Supreme Court of India? Is that a question that the government can answer? Why has the government not come clean?
Charu, I'll let you have the word. I'll let you respond to it. Yes.
Has the BJP ever come out clean and said that they had no role in Pegasus? They have not been able to make that one statement.
Okay, Charu, please answer.
Every move made by this government is questionable.
We got your point, Mahima.
Must be questioned so.
So listen to the Congress spokesperson here, Griha. First of all, she does not understand that this has happened in 150 countries. So why do you feel targeted? Isn't it giving yourself too much?
We are counting at 150, number 161. At Press Freedom Index. In a Press Freedom Index, we count at 161. Then you say, what about international data? Today you will go out looking for shelter under international data.
Really?
BJP conveniently go looking for shelter under
let me come in here. Let me come in here. Let me come in here. Charu, let me come in here. The fact that BJP has been time and again, and we've been seeing it since the press conference that was in fact spearheaded by Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad yesterday, they have mentioned this aspect that Apple has been sending out these alerts in 150 countries. On the one hand, you are saying that. Isn't it not denting your claim that you're now making through Amit Malviya? Amit Malviya quote tweets a whistleblower, in this case Mr. Ajay Singh, without even going behind the background of everything, and then you also claim that Apple has been doing that. But the fact that it has happened in India, don't you think that the government is responsible to check up on these claims and also this alert? The fact that Apple has been sending it, this is serious. It's not out of the ordinary that it has happened.
Absolutely. It's absolutely serious, and I agree with you, Griha, and the parliamentary committee is going to ensure that we get to the bottom of this in the best possible way, in the quickest manner possible. So nobody is denying that, but 150 countries is as true as the fact that the Goorge Soros Foundation is funding, etc.
They need to save their crony capitalist friend. They'll take as much time as they need to save
I would have to wrap it there.
Friend.
BJP is saying that the investigation is on. The Congress is claiming that they did not adhere to the diktats of the investigation in the Pegasus case. What happens in this Snoopgate saga that involves Apple is something that only time is going to tell. Right now, there are 10 opposition MPs who have claimed that their phones have been snooped upon, going by this alert message that has come via Apple. What is the Goorge Soros involvement? Whether that is a requisite that needs to be even looked at is the big question that we'd have to continue to seek answers to. With that, I'd like to thank all my panelists for joining me this evening. We're slipping into a very short break on Plain Speak, but coming up on the other side, pollution woes. In fact, who will take the big blame? That is the big question. Whether it is the national capital Delhi or maximum city Mumbai, the situation has gone from bad to worse.
Hello, Moto.
Actually make a temporary solution of this entire situation, though at this very pocket, in this very area, the AQI remains in the very poor category. In fact, it is going beyond that at some point in time. Yesterday was the day when 500 mark was breached here at Anand Vihar. In fact, Supreme Court is also taking up this issue of worsening air quality here in the national capital, where the Supreme Court has asked the 5 states, including national capital Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana and Punjab, to file an affidavit as to what measures they are taking to combat this current situation of worsening air quality here in the national capital. Well, the people of the national capital woke up to a hazy morning for the straight 5th day. Well, the air quality was already deteriorating, but now things have gone from bad to worse. In fact, today's AQI is, as when we are recording this very report, is somewhere around 336 levels, which is in the very poor category. I'm coming to you from the Kartavya Path area. On this side, you can see how bad the situation is here in the national capital. The smog has completely shrouded this area, and India Gate from this very point is barely visible. So this is a visual evidence of how the bad situation has turned here in the national capital. On the other side of the road as well, you can see the visibility has dipped a lot. Well, now this entire matter is panning out to be worse than the last 2 to 3 years, and this is what the officials had maintained, that October was worst in the last couple of years. Now, in some pockets yesterday, the AQI in fact had reached over the 500 mark, including the Anand Vihar area, and in fact some areas including Jahangirpuri also reported AQI levels over 400 to 500. So this is a worrisome situation now. In fact, authorities have also kicked in to actually curb this situation. As of now, various measures have been implemented. The latest which has been implemented as of now by the government is that no diesel vehicles will be allowed, or diesel buses will be allowed from the adjoining state in the national capital. If the buses are electric, if the buses are CNG, or if the buses are compliant with the BS6 norms of the diesel vehicles, then only those buses will be allowed. In fact, other measures are also in place, but as of now, the situation looks very bad here in the national capital. With national capital reeling under heavy smog, there are certain pockets which are reporting AQI in the worrying category of 400 to 500. In fact, I'm coming to you from the Anand Vihar area right now, which continues to be worst affected here in the national capital. In fact, yesterday only, this particular area reported an AQI level of over 500. Right now also the AQI continues to hover somewhere around 420 levels here at Anand Vihar. Every year this is said to be one of the hotspots of pollutions here in the national capital. One of the prime reasons when we talk about air pollution in the national capital continues to be the farm fires. But vehicular movement is also another aspect to it. You can see the kind of traffic this area cater to, and in fact not only traffic, but you can see the bus adda is also here at this very point. So there is a heavy vehicular movement of big vehicles, though an imposition has come into place where diesel buses from the adjoining
Welcome back. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Griha. Winter's coming, and much as this is a welcome respite from the sweltering heat in most parts of the country, the deteriorating air quality index doesn't really add up to as many reasons to celebrate. In fact, the weather outside is nothing short of dreadful. Talk about national capital Delhi or maximum city Mumbai, the pollution has left all and sundry breathless. The Central Pollution Control Board's data suggests air quality in the national capital in October this year was the worst since 2020. In fact, meteorologists attribute the poor air quality in October 2023 to a lack of rainfall, with the capital recording an average AQI of 210, which is worse than the previous year's data. Now remember, Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata were the worst, world's 4th, 7th and 10th most polluted cities. And this was as of Monday, according to Swiss air monitor IQ Air. Let's now take a look at what Delhi's air quality has looked like. From 325 on Sunday to 373 today, the air quality index has steadily increased, pointing to the increasing pollutants in air in the national capital region. And mind you, this is just an average. Several parts of the city have witnessed an AQI of over 500 as well. That's how bad the situation is. Now, all of this has prompted the Delhi government to put certain measures in place. Let's take a look at the measures one by one. What is the Arvind Kejriwal government really planning on? Measure number 1, only CNG and electric buses to be allowed inside Delhi. That's point number 1. Number 2, what they have done is that pollution hotspots need to be identified across the national capital. That's number 3. Number 2, in fact, as part of this measure, they also are talking about how dust suppressants need to be used across all of these identified hotspots. That is a sprinkling of water or however, whichever way these dust can in fact be allowed to settle down and not be allowed to go into the atmosphere. Number 4, they have done is that increase metro services to reduce traffic so that people use less of on-road travel, use the metro more. Number 5, there has been an introduction of shuttle bus across the national capital. So this is what Delhi is doing. Let's take a look at what is the situation like in maximum city Mumbai, where the air quality has been unhealthy for more than 3 days in a row now. Even with forecasts suggesting a slightly improved air quality, it still remains unhealthy for the vulnerable groups. The rampant construction is to blame for this menace. It is being advised that Mumbaikars should avoid outdoors unless very necessary, wear masks and run air purifiers at home. Now, BMC, which is the civic body in Mumbai, has brought in detailed guidelines to curb rising pollution and also issued a stern warning for non-compliance. There is a 27-point guideline that has been issued, and here we are just putting down some of the major points for you on what has the BMC now advised the Mumbaikars. Let's take a look at the measures that have been advised by the BMC one by one. Number 1, they are talking about how 35 feet high sheets need to be put around construction sites. Number 2, water flogging needs to be done during loading and unloading of all the material for the construction site. Number 3, water sprinkling on debris need to be done also on earth materials. Number 4, there has been a complete ban on open burning, especially garbage dumps. The 5th measure that they have undertaken is how 25 feet barricading needs to be done around where the metro construction work is happening. Number 6, they also have put in place squads for air pollution mitigation and enforcement. Number 7, special squads have been put in place to prevent illegal construction. Remember, construction is really rampant across Mumbai, and this is a major cause of concern because of the deteriorating air quality. So we are asking today, Indian cities choke, but who is going to be taking the blame? That's the big question that we are putting forth on Plain Speak. Let's take a look. In fact, we are also taking in your calls live on this edition of Plain Speak. So call us, do call us and tell us who has failed you and who should take the blame. We are looking forward to hearing from you.
You can barely see India Gate from this very place. So it shows that how dense this fog has become, smog has become here in the national capital.
यहाँ पर देख के हमारे को डर सा लगता है, ऐसे लगता है जैसे हम अपनी जिंदगी के साथ खिलवाड़ करने आ गए हैं यहाँ पर।
कारण पंजाब से पराली और हरियाणा में, तो पंजाब में उनकी सरकार है, वहाँ पे उनकी सरकार इनकी बात ही नहीं मान।
केजरीवाल जी की मेहरबानी वजह से हो रहा है जी। पहले तो कहते थे मेरी सरकार रहेगी, कोई प्रदूषण नहीं होगा, पहले से भी कई गुना ज़्यादा बढ़ा हुआ है।
Harish Khurana of the Bharatiya Janata Party is with us on the broadcast this evening. Also with us is Preeti Sharma of the Aam Aadmi Party. Mr. Khurana, beginning with you, the fact that it's your government in Mumbai, in Maharashtra, and you are in opposition in the national capital, both these places are suffering really, really badly. Who is to take the blame for this? Who is responsible for this menace? Mr. Khurana, are you able to? I think you're on mute, Mr. Khurana.
I'm audible now?
Yes, please
Hello?
go ahead, sir.
See, if you talk about only Delhi, I'm talking right now, and I'll come to Mumbai later on. If you talk about Delhi, it's become an every year affair now. In the month of October till December, this health emergency situation occurs every year. But unfortunately, we talk on media, some guideline comes on in Supreme Court or on Honorable Court, and matter ends in January, February, because the air quality gets improved and matter is over. But the actual situation is, the ground reality is, government, any government, whether you talk about Mumbai or whether you talk about Delhi,
Yes.
people are not, government are not ready to accept what the problems are. If you talk about only Delhi, till last 2 years, if you remember, Arvind Kejriwal used to say Parali is one of the biggest cause which is coming from Punjab is the biggest cause. But now he's saying only Haryana, because we have come down to in Punjab, now Haryana is doing it. But the fact is, actual fact is, we are giving to our viewers, and if you putting your voters are wrong facts, then you're running from the actual fact. I'll put one actual fact figure to your viewers. From 15th September till 30th October, 11,784 cases have come up of stubble burning in 6 states, which is Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, UP and Madhya Pradesh. Out of that 11,000 cases, Punjab is happening 6,284 cases. And the Delhi government, which is blaming Haryana, figure is 1,146. This is not my data, ma'am. It's a ICAR data. So we should understand, running off from a situation will never solve a problem.
Okay.
Every year we say...
Point taken about Delhi, sir. Mr. Khurana, point taken about Delhi. We will ask you about Mumbai. You can obviously cite stubble burning in Delhi, in and around Delhi. What is happening in Mumbai? Who is to blame when it comes to that?
See,
Before you answer that, sir, I'm really sorry. We have opened our call line, so we are constantly getting callers. Anup from the National Capital is joining us on the broadcast. Anup, please go ahead, make your point. We've got both the members of the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP with us on the broadcast.
Yeah, so good evening everyone. So my point to our spokesperson here is that there was a lot of gung about that once AAP comes into the power, they will solve all the problem, and they kept on blaming Punjab for it. But today when they have a party there, so much so that the Chief Minister of Punjab, he is elected from a place where they have a factory where the parali can be converted into bales which can be used in as fire coke.
Yes.
But they are not doing anything about it. And the solution that I see on the road where they are spraying water at a very low level, and they are trying to make people think that this will control pollution. How is it going to control pollution when they are just spraying minuscule of water?
Okay, Anup, thank you so much for your question. Let Preeti answer that. Preeti Sharma of the Aam Aadmi Party. Preeti, please take that question.
I totally agree that this is a very, very huge problem. It's a national crisis. And the BJP spokesperson just quoted some figures which I do not have any record of. I will tell you the real status of pollution in Haryana vis-a-vis Delhi. You can see that.
Ma'am, why don't you begin with answering what Anup asked. He is a member, he is a citizen of the national capital of India, and he's raised certain questions. Now, he's also spoken about how there have been several measures that have been implemented to dissuade farmers from parali burning in Punjab, but none of them are taking part in those measures. What is the Punjab government, which is also your government, doing about it?
Sadly, I think this gentleman is misinformed. In fact, in Punjab, parali burning has come down by 51%. There are districts after districts which are becoming burning free. There are more projects launched to ensure that bales are made out of the parali, and more projects to decompose the parali and use it as manure, as fodder, as various other things in Punjab than any other state in India. What I was trying to point out was to answer this same gentleman.
Yes.
If you go to aqi.in in real time and you see today which is the most polluted city in the world, you will see Hisar is at number 5. In the same list, there is also Sonepat and Panipat and Rohtak. It is Haryana today which has unmitigated amount of parali burning that is going on. Having said that, I still say a joint action plan is needed. This is not a problem of the Aam Aadmi Party or of the BJP or of any one government.
Okay.
It is time for the
We'll
central
keep
government
the politicization bit.
I would like
We'll
to
keep
just
it
add a point about
yeah.
Mumbai. Can I just add a point about Mumbai?
Sure, ma'am.
The BJP spokesperson failed to mention Mumbai at all. Do you know?
I had to
the
give him
Guardian
time for
minister,
that. I will take the blame for it, ma'am. He is about to respond on the Mumbai bit. But Mr. Harish Khurana, when it is about the joint action plan that is being claimed must be actually put in place by the Aam Aadmi Party, both the states of Haryana and Punjab need to work together. What is the claim right now that's been made by Aam Aadmi Party is all the measures are being put in place by the government in Punjab, but nothing really can show in effect because of what is happening in Haryana, because the stubble burning continues there.
Priya, first of all, I'd like to respond about Preeti, my friend from Aam Aadmi Party. She's saying what kind of data I'm putting in. It's the ICR data. Please go to that site and go to it. I'm not giving my own data, ma'am. So please, when you come to debate, please study that. And yesterday, I'll give you a small example of yesterday. From 15th September till 30th October, pure month, the whole month of Haryana stubble burning is equivalent to only yesterday's stubble burning in Punjab. 1,362 cases came in yesterday only. Out of that, 1,030 cases came from only Punjab, and Haryana came 52. This is not my data. This is government's own ICAR data. Please understand
what about
that.
Mumbai,
And
sir? You have to quickly make that point.
Point number two.
Yes.
Point number two. Where are the buses? Electrical buses came in Delhi by FAME 2, which is central government given to you. Today, we are not using the public conveyance. Today, on roads, vehicle emission to the whole year is 25% of the total pollution which comes in. But we are not popularizing it, metros or public conveyance. We are not having the buses actually. Problem is we are not able to understand what is the actual causes of this pollution is. So joint action plan. Okay, we are ready for that.
Can I come in here?
Yes, I will give you the word, Preeti, but we also have Manoj from the National Capital joining us. Let Manoj have his word, his say, and then we'll come to Preeti and Mr. Khurana. Yes, Manoj, please go ahead, make your point. Manoj?
So, my point is that for the AAP spokesperson, my point is for the AAP spokesperson that it is highly irresponsible when you say that yes, we will do something, but nothing has been done. We actually are living in gas chambers. Our kids are living in gas chambers. Schools are being shut down because of pollution. And year after year, they are losing their academic time. How justified is it that you keep blaming either Hisar? So when you guys came for election, did you say that, okay, we will compare our situation with Hisar, with Sonipat, with Panipat? That time you said that we will solve all the problem, everything will be done, we have plan in place, everything. But today, it's been since 2014, nothing has been done. It's going on increasing. The pollution
Manoj, thank you so much for that question. Preeti, I'd like you to respond to these questions by the people who are staying in the national capital.
Please.
This is a very legitimate complaint, and this actually concerns children.
Absolutely. Everything that the Delhi government can do, it has done. The gentleman from the BJP mentioned that there are no electric buses. Delhi has the highest density of electric buses. 7,000 electric buses have been added to the fleet. Delhi has the highest number of individual electric vehicles in the country. 17%. It is the highest because Delhi has the best EV policy as per the central government data. Second, there's 24/7 electric supply in Delhi now, so the use of diesel generators has gone down completely. Third, there are PNG plants almost everywhere. The industry has been totally banned from using any fuel that can cause pollution. Fourth, now that we are in the MCD, we have the Chief Minister commissioned last month, the largest plant to deal with construction garbage, construction debris, the largest plant in the country. Delhi has always come up with action plans. The Delhi government is an educated government. It is an honest government. It has come up with action plans repeatedly. It has done maverick things like odd and even to try and control pollution.
We've still not managed to come to Mumbai, but this is the claim that has continued to be made by Aam Aadmi Party. Ma'am, you know, if I look out from my office window, we are on the 23rd floor. We cannot see anything. And this problem has been a persistent problem for at least 8 to 9 years. Mr. Khurana, the claim that has been made by Aam Aadmi Party is despite ample action plans that are made to work, there is no assistance from the close by states which have been governed and ruled by the Bharatiya Janata Party. How do you take up that accusation?
And I would like to talk about Mumbai before he goes ahead.
My opening remark only, I said one thing. If you are not ready to accept the problem, we are not ready to solve it. You are not ready to accept the problems. Today,
the assistance is missing, is what the Aam Aadmi Party is claiming. How do you respond to that, sir? There is no assistance from Haryana that's coming, for example.
She's saying telling a lie to your viewers. Ma'am, to your viewers, she said 7,000 buses are there, electrical buses are there in Delhi.
Yes.
I'm sorry, ma'am. The actual figure is 700 buses, which is given by central government only. So please don't tell the lie to the country. That what you have done. End of the day, you are saying so much you have done it. You yourself have told the figure. In the last 3 years, October month of AQI level is worse in last 3 years this time. So if you have done so much
Mr. Khurana, this has sadly become like a Delhi exercise only, but we also have to raise questions on what is happening in Mumbai. Unfortunately, we do not have time for that, but that also needs to be pointed out because it's not just the stubble burning issue that is causing this problem. It is also the construction, a rampant one that's happening in Mumbai, which is also not letting the Mumbaikars breathe. There needs to be a serious deliberation that needs to be done on this topic that's close to everyone's heart and health. Thank you so much, Mr. Khurana and Preeti, for joining us on the broadcast. That's all the time that I had on Plain Speak. My colleague Rahul Shivshankar will be joining you on the other side.
Gopal Rai.
Allowed to enter to the national capital only electric, CNG and BS6 compliance diesel vehicles or buses will be allowed here in the national capital. In fact, there is a visual also coming in here how water guns and smoke guns are being continuously used to actually make a temporary solution of this entire situation. Though at this very pocket, in this very area, the AQI remains in the very, very poor category. In fact, it is going beyond that at some point in time. Yesterday was the day when 500 mark was breached here at Anand Vihar. In fact, Supreme Court is also taking up this issue of worsening air quality here in the national capital, where the Supreme Court has asked the 5 states, including national capital Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana and Punjab, to file an affidavit as to what measures they are taking to combat this current situation of worsening air quality here in the national capital. Well, the people of the national capital woke up to a hazy morning for the straight 5th day. Well, the air quality was already deteriorating, but now things have gone from bad to worse. In fact, today's AQI is, as when we are recording this very report, is somewhere around 336 levels, which is in the very poor category. I'm coming to you from the Kartavya Path area. On this side, you can see how bad the situation is here in the national capital. The smog has completely shrouded this area, and India Gate from this very point is barely visible. So this is a visual evidence of how the bad situation has turned here in the national capital. On the other side of the road as well, you can see the visibility has dipped a lot. Well, now this entire matter is panning out to be worse than the last 2 to 3 years, and this is what the officials had maintained, that October was worst in the last couple of years. Now, in some pockets yesterday, the AQI in fact had reached over the 500 mark, including the Anand Vihar area, and in fact some areas including Jahangirpuri also reported AQI levels over 400 to 500. So this is a worrisome situation now. In fact, authorities have also kicked in to actually curb this situation. As of now, various measures have been implemented. The latest which has been implemented as of now by the government is that no diesel vehicles will be allowed, or diesel buses will be allowed from the adjoining state in the national capital. If the buses are electric, if the buses are CNG, or if the buses are compliant with the BS6 norms of the diesel vehicles, then only those buses will be allowed. In fact, other measures are also in place, but as of now, the situation looks very bad here in the national capital. With national capital reeling under heavy smog, there are certain pockets which are reporting AQI in the worrying category of 400 to 500. In fact, I'm coming to you from the Anand Vihar area right now, which continues to be worst affected here in the national capital. In fact, yesterday only, this particular area reported an AQI level of over 500. Right now also the AQI continues to hover somewhere around 420 levels here at Anand Vihar. Every year this is said to be one of the hotspots of pollutions here in the national capital. One of the prime reasons when we talk about air pollution in the national capital continues to be the farm fires, but the vehicular movement is also another aspect to it. You can see
viewers, a set of opposition politicians and some others who have been critical of the Modi government claim that they were victims of a failed, quote, state-sponsored, unquote, attempt to hack into their Apple iPhones. These individuals based their allegation on a notification that they claimed they had received from Apple. The union government had played down the allegations by citing a statement released by Apple that suggested that the company, and I quote, did not attribute